So now we're going to move along with some photo etch. I know in the last episode it was very sort of basic, but now we're going to be jumping into some photo etch. As you can see, done a whole bunch of gluing all our seat cockpit area together. We've also got, you know, sides to this as well, which, you know, I'm just keeping separate just for the fact of you know, we want to sort of be able to have accessibility. So when gluing, you do want to kind of like keep in mind that if we glued all this together to be able to paint it, weather it and all that kind of cool stuff, we are going to need to have accessibility. I know the seat is actually, looks like it's glued on, but it's just placed on. It fits really well. When it comes to photo etch, you do want to be really taking your instructions and studying them. Photo etch is one of these things that's really fiddly. It's very time consuming, and it can be a little bit complex. So before kind of starting, really familiarize yourself with the instructions. We're going to be tackling the actual instrument display panel because it's nice, it's easy, but yeah, you really want to sort of really kind of, you know, study them a lot. Pretty much 9 times out of 10 all instructions will say PE, which is like photo etch, and that normally kind of indicates where photo etch is going to be going. You also want to keep in mind when it comes to photo etch is the color as well. Spraying, painting, sort of understand why I'm saying like go off and study the instructions, because you also want to kind of like be sort of understanding at which point do you glue on the photo etch, right? Because some of it, as you can see, is all nicely pre-painted, like these instrument display panels, nicely pre-painted. We don't want to be going off, cutting these off, gluing them on, and then coming along and spraying the actual cockpit, because we're going to cover up all the detail there. But then some of the photo etch is like just plain sort of nice and metal silvery, which some of it does need to be glued on before you start spraying, so you kind of spray the photo etch. So, you know, really study those instructions. So let's put that to one side, and what we're going to do is we're going to be cutting them off. It's a little bit more tricky than cutting off plastic. It's a little bit more harder and you've got to be more careful, and as you can see, I mean, all these little pieces, they're really tiny pieces, so you do need to sort of watch out for that. So when cutting, what's good is, well, the problem is because it's metal, we can easily bend it and crease it, and it kind of messes things up. So what we need to do is we need to have 2 flat surfaces to sandwich our photo etch together. So what we've got here is just a bit of plastic just here. You could use a tile or anything really flat, like a sheet of glass or something like that, and then potentially, you know, the same on top. With this is a set that you can get off internet. Online shops sell them. They are rather cool. And what we plain and simply do, if we bring you in, because this does get quite fiddly, is we press and sandwich our photo etch together. Now what we want to do is we're going to go for the instrument display panel. Also what you want to get is, you know, got a nice Swan Morton number 3 handle with a I do believe it's a number 9 blade. It's a nice flat blade for us to be able to cut into this. So what we're going to do is we first off we butt up the actual, let's see how close we can get you in. We actually butt up the blade to our piece like so, and then we butt up our top sort of bit of plastic to sandwich it in so that we aren't going to sort of do any nasty bends. And then what we do is we sort of rock the blade and sort of cut into a little bit of photo etch, bit of fret there, right, and that should hopefully get cut into that, right, and then we work our way around. We've got 2 more little tabs just this side. Again, let's just butt that up and rock it. We don't want to be doing any sort of sawing motions, right? If we do any sort of sawing motions, right, we could sort of like push the piece of Photo-Etched and potentially bend, crease, that kind of thing. Right, and we just work our way around, butt it up to the Photo-Etched, push in our piece of plastic just there, and we cut into it. Right, and then once we've gone all the way around, we'll sort of find out how well we've cut it. So as you can see, we've just gone round, we've cutted it, and there we go. It's just nicely popping off just like so. So that's how you cut it off and not get any sort of nasty bends in your Photo-Etched. Next up, good idea to get out, you know, a good quality sort of like metal foil, as you can see just here. And what we're going to do is get out again some good quality tweezers. I like to use one with as much of a flat end to it as possible, right? Because what we're going to do, we're going to take our piece of Photo-Etched, and you might just be able to see where we've cut it off of the sprue. Right, there's these little sort of tabs. You could sort of feel it with your finger. It's sort of catching sort of on your skin. It's kind of a little bit sharp, and what we want to do is neaten that up, just like with your plastic pieces. Right, you want to cut them off, and then you sort of sand down and chop up the leftover bit of flash to neaten it all off. It's the same thing with Photo-Etched. So what we're doing is we're using the same principle of having something hard, basically sandwiching our bit of Photo-Etched, and that's what the tweezers are doing. It's sandwiching that Photo-Etched together to stop it from being bent, because we're going to come along with our metal file just here, right, and it shouldn't take that much. It does actually sound quite easily, and you can sort of then feel that there is no leftover tab there. But as I say, because it's nicely sandwiched, we're not going to bend it, and that gets all done nicely. There's can just feel another one just here. Again, a little bit of a sand, and there you go, a little bit there also. But it's really easy just to feel with your finger, and that's basically all nicely prepping up your Photo-Etched, ready for any kind of bending or gluing onto our piece.